Alright, when I was playing with mine a minute ago, I had a couple that didn't look like they wanted to cut, and they did. They were just leaving behind little mini extra line segments. So what I had to do, just to show you, to get rid of those problem ones was white arrow and click on those little segments that were left behind that essentially just weren't deleting properly with the shape builder for not any particularly good reason. Because I failed to consider my feathers when I was doing the previous part and joined the right hand section, I either have to redo the feathers on both halves, which I really don't want to do, or I need to chop off the right hand portion and do that flip again. And I'll show you that just in case any of the rest of you have an oops moment where you do things slightly out of sequence. All right, so shape primitive. I'm going to use the rectangle. I could use Shape Builder or I could use Pathfinder. It doesn't really matter which. I think I'm going to go with Pathfinder, and I'll do that minus front. And now I'm back to having half, which is exactly what I wanted. I would use the Reflect tool, Alt click or Option click on there, click on the copy button. I end up with the right hand part just like I needed, and then I would do the unite. That to me is much faster than having to do the second set of petals, because the majority of it is clicking on buttons. You just have to remember the correct sequence. So it was chop off the right half, then use the reflect, and then use the unite to recombine them. Okay, so that is the eagle body. You just draw the head as normal as you see it. The legs, sort of the same difference. Just keep in mind for the legs that everything that you see that's white on those, as well as the outline of the eagle itself, is going to be a stroke that you push to the outside. So worry about drawing just right along the outside edge of the blue to do a leg. Make sure it extends up into where the shield is going to be. Don't draw it short, because it's better off if it is behind or underneath the shield rather than you're trying to match that edge up perfectly. So to sort of illustrate a little bit of what I'm talking about, I'm going to do this in a different color. Ignore the pink right here. I'm going to hide that temporarily. But make sure that when you're drawing the leg, that you draw up into the shield about as far as what I just did in that pink. And it doesn't have to go quite that far, but you definitely want to make sure it extends up into it. So at a minimum, something like this would be advised. Okay, so as you're doing one leg, you're going to use that same rotation axis to flip over and create the right hand copy. It's going to be that Alt click again to create it. Shield is kind of the same difference, where you could do it as a symmetrical piece and join it, but it's a pretty easy shape. So I would actually recommend that you draw the shield. And it is very, very few points. Probably for each half, no more than 4. And that means with the central one at the top and the central one at the bottom being joined, you're talking about 6 to 8 points for the whole shape as being all that are necessary to create that pretty cleanly. And you're going to draw along the outside edge, because the white, again, is going to be the stroke that you apply to the object. So long as you're using the closed shape that you should be, the aligned stroke would allow you to push the white to the outside edge. And the shape that you're drawing for the center part of that shield, draw it as a complete shape, and then you're going to split it up to do the elements that you need to. And I'll show you what I mean by that in the next video.